Welcome to Numbers Simplified, a channel in which we simplify and solve numerical problems. Today we'll be looking at the division of polynomials. But without wasting much time, let's look at the format of the polynomials we're dealing with. We have what we call the dividend and the divisor, giving us an answer which is a quotient and a remainder. Where we have a factor, the remainder will be 0. And of course, the d of x cannot be equal to 0. Otherwise, we have something that is undefined. Now, let's look at the terms and the definition. The degree of a polynomial is referred to as the highest power of the variable. We've got two functions in this example, f of x and g of x. What are the degrees of f of x and g of x? Pause the video for a moment, write your answer in the section. If your answer was 3 and 6, then that was correct. Definition 2. The leading term of a polynomial is referred to the highest power, the term with the highest power in this case. We still have the second example, f of x and g of x. So what are the leading terms here? Write your answer, x cubed and x to the power 6. Awesome. Now, we've got 4 important points to note. 1, the degree of the divisor must be lower than the degree of the dividend, or it must be equal. 2, at each step, divide the dividend terms individually using the leading term of the divisor only. 3, after each division step, multiply the quotient by the divisor and subtract the result from the dividend, dropping or identifying the necessary terms from the dividend. 4, repeat the process until the leading term of the divisor is more than the degree of the remaining dividend terms. Let's look at the first example. In the first example, we can see that the degree of the divisor is lower than the degree of the dividend. So we can proceed with our division. So x into x cubed, we have x squared. X squared times x, we have x cubed. X squared plus 1, we have x squared. We subtract that. We get 2x squared. We drop the x, so that we have 2x plus x. We divide x into 2x squared. Then we have 2x times x, we have 2x squared, plus 2x times 1, which is 2x. We subtract once again, we get minus x. We drop the negative 1. We divide x into the negative x, we get minus 1. We repeat the process, and we subtract, we get 0 this time around, so that we get the quotient and the remainder of 0 in this case. Looking at the next example, 4. We still have the same scenario where the degree of the divisor is lower than that of the dividend. So we can divide x squared into x to the power 4, we get x cubed, x squared times x squared, we get x to the power 4. X squared times 4, we get plus 4x squared. We subtract, we get minus 4x squared. We drop the other term, which is a 16 in this case. So I would also emphasize that we had to include the zeros because we have to include all the other terms that are in between x to the power 4 and 16. Now we continue with the process, we get the remainder of 32. There we have the quotient, and there we have the remainder. Now, writing it in the format that is acceptable, we have the quotient by its own and the remainder on top of the divisor as we have it in this way. Example 5, the last example for the day. So we have the question here, and we have the degree of the dividend being higher than that of the divisor. We take the leading term of the divisor into the leading term of the dividend. We get x squared. X squared times x squared, we get x to the power 4. X squared times minus x, we get minus x cubed. X squared times 4, we get positive 4x squared. We subtract that. As we subtract, we get minus 2x cubed, rather positive 2x cubed, minus x squared. We divide that leading term of the divisor into the leading term of the dividend. We get 2x. We multiply. We get 2x cubed minus 2x squared plus 8 x. We subtract before we drop the 6. So now when we subtract, we get x squared plus 4x plus the 6 that we dropped. Then we divide x squared by x squared, we get 1. 1 times x squared, x squared. 1 times minus x, minus x. 1 times 4, 4. We subtract, we get 5x plus 2 as our remainder and the quotient at the top. So we write it in the format that is acceptable, especially for most exams. So we would have to separate the quotient with the remainder, but the remainder has to be above the divisor. So if you've watched this video to this point, thank you so much for watching Numbers Simplified. However, I leave you with the task. I want you to work on the task over here and make sure you write your answers in the comment section. If you face any difficulties or if you have any other problems and questions, feel free to write in the comment section. Thank you once again for watching Numbers Simplified. If you haven't done so, please subscribe, like, and share. God loves you.